Welcome to 30 Days on Mount Desert Island. I'm Todd Dunn. It's December 7, 2018, and today I'm going to the village of Bernard, Maine, which is located on the west side of Bass Harbor. Okay, here is the base map of Mount Desert Island. Today we're going to Bernard, which is here along the west side of Bass Harbor, which is what that little harbor right there is. And most of Bernard is right along the harbor. There is another section out here on this point called Lopus Point, and we'll be going to both locations. As you drive into Bernard, one of the first things you pass after the post office is the Bass Harbor Memorial Library. This is a very small library, much smaller than in Southwest Harbor. It's quite pleasant though, has a nice reading room. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you today because despite the fact that the library is supposed to be open now, it has a big sign on the door that says closed. Okay, now I'm out near the southern tip of the village of Bernard, and we're on the edge of the harbor looking out over Bass Harbor. The land on the other side is the village of Bass Harbor. So as we pan out here, out at the end over there is the state ferry dock where you can get the ferry to Swans Island or Frenchboro. And as we move in, the brick building over there is the former Underwood Cannery. You may have heard of Underwood deviled ham. Well, they made that there, although mostly they canned sardines. Then there's the Bass Harbor, referring to the harbor, not the village now, lobster fleet. As we pan across till we get over here, this building here is Thurston's. Thurston's is a combination lobster pound where lobstermen sell their lobsters and restaurant. In the summer, it's easily identifiable because it has bright yellow awnings on the framework there, and it is thought by many to be the best place to get lobster on Mount Desert Island. It is a bit out of the way here in Bernard, but still the lobster there is good. It's fresh out of the water, usually the day that you eat it. And right now, actually, you can see there are two lobster boats there offloading lobsters. And the area where all the yellow lobster traps are is actually seating in the summer, but they've switched it over to trap storage for the winter. So this is outer Bernard along the harbor. So now we're going to go down to the town dock, which is one of two public accesses to the water in Bernard. All right, now I'm down at the Tremont Town Dock in the village of Bernard on Bass Harbor. This is one of only two places, as I said, where there's public access to the water. So this is public dock. And out there is a dinghy dock that's actually restricted to lobstermen who keep their boats here, and you can see there are quite a few lobster boats here. And the dock itself, and over there in the distance, more lobster boats. We're going to walk over there and take a look and see what the rest of the town facility here looks like. Okay, I'm at the other side of the Tremont Town Dock facility. This is the boat ramp where you can launch your boat, and in the summer those three pilings have a dinghy dock alongside them, so it's easy to launch there. And out here you can see floats with that lobstermen use to store their gear during the summer. Over there are more lobster boats in another part of the harbor. And this dock over here is a private marina called Up Harbor Marine that occasionally has room for a visiting boater, but is pretty much fully booked other than that. So this is the upper part of Bass Harbor, which extends up around the little point over there to the area where I initially filmed my intro for this video. Although past that point the harbor pretty much dries out at low tide. So Bass Harbor from the Bernard side, and all the houses you see on the other side are in the village of Bass Harbor. Okay, now I've driven out the Lopus Point Road, L-O-P-A-U-S, which branches off the main road in the town of Bernard and goes out Lopus Point. Big surprise. Lopus Point extends south from the main part of Bernard. It's almost all privately owned, but just before you get to the end of the point, there is a small public park. And that's where I am right now. And right now I am looking southeast across the easternmost extent of Blue Hill Bay toward Gotts Island, Blacks Island, and Placentia Islands. And in the distance over there, the Duck Islands. And across there is the headland that goes out to the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse, which is just around the end of that point. And across is the Maine State Ferry, which I mentioned before, that goes over to Swans Island and the island of Frenchboro. What makes this spot nice is the beach access. It's rocky beach right now. And there is here another natural seawall, which is a barrier of rocks and gravel thrown up by storm waves and creating a seawall. And you can walk out there, and there's even a picnic table out there if you want to sit and have a picnic. At this spot on Lopus Point, the point itself is only about 100 yards wide. This is the eastern side, and I will stop and show you the western side on the way out. After that, I'm going to just do a drive-through of Bernard to show you what the town looks like as you're driving through. But this is a very small village, only has a few hundred people, but it is, as you can see, somewhat scenic. All right, now I'm about 75 yards from where I was before, and we're looking west across the narrow point of Lopus Point toward Blue Hill Bay out there. I don't know if you can see it in this picture, but there are quite a few whitecaps on the bay, and it's pretty windy right here. And even though it's warm today, 38 degrees, it's a little chilly right here, so I'm not going to stay long. But this is Blue Hill Bay on one side, the main part, and Bass Harbor on the other side of this narrow isthmus on Lopus Point. So let's head back into Bernard proper, which is about a quarter mile away, and do a drive-through of the rest of the village. Okay, right now I'm as far south as I can get in the village of Bernard, and as you can see, if I go any further, I'm into a driveway. So I'm going to turn around and drive out of Bernard to the main road, which is Route 102, and show you what the town looks like during a drive-through. Here I go for my drive-through of the village of Bernard as I'm leaving the village from the southernmost point in the village out to the main road. All of the buildings we pass here pretty much are private residences, although many of them are also rentals. You can rent these, a lot of these houses, on a weekly basis in the summer. Bernard, and indeed the entire town of Tremont that Bernard is in, is part of what's called the quiet side of Mount Desert Island. And the reason for that is there just aren't as many tourist attractions over here. And although there are bits of Acadia National Park over here, they aren't developed. And this area consequently gets a lot fewer tourists than the other side of the island, or even Southwest Harbor, which is more in the middle of the island. So if you want to get away from the crowds during a visit to Mount Desert Island, Bernard is the way to go, as is Bass Harbor. And just a quick stop, I mentioned you can launch your boat at the Tremont Town Dock. This is public parking, so if you do launch your boat, you can come over and leave your trailer here, and the fee is minimal. So this is one of the good spots to put a boat in the water to cruise the area around Mount Desert Island. Okay. This right here is a Locust Point Road that we just went out. And it's about 3/8 of a mile long altogether. As we come out, here's the public library where we started this little view. And basically just towns. There is no school in Bernard. Everybody goes to the Tremont Town School, and then after 8th grade to the Mount Desert Island High School. This is the post office. And we come out here, just houses along the road. The harbor is on my right, although from this road you really can't see it. Although, despite it being only a couple of 100 yards at most away. In the past, there used to be a public school here. It's right here. This was the Bernard School. It's now an antique store that's open in the summer. So here we go. Driving out of Bernard, and in just a moment we're going to get to the main drag, Highway 102, which goes up the west side of the island. And here we are. So that finishes the bulk of my tour of Bernard, Maine. And we're gonna just drive over here a little bit more while I say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the scenery in Bernard, Maine, and what little I had to say about it. And here is the upper end of Bass Harbor where I started this little presentation. You can see the tide is going out, and there's a lot less water there now than there was when I came out. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you enjoyed this video.